Look at this carving. What does it show? Wait, are they holding iPhones or smartphones? Is this some kind of a tablet-like device that existed 1,000 years ago? You might be tempted to close this video because it makes you uncomfortable, but that's exactly why you need to keep watching, because this information may contradict your belief system and your worldview. According to mainstream history, there were no advanced electronic devices 1,000 years ago. Yet, this carving shakes that belief system. It clearly shows something that looks like a smartphone. When faced with contradicting evidence, most people will quickly dismiss the evidence because they don't want to change their belief system. It would be easy to dismiss this as pseudoscience or a conspiracy theory because you don't have to change your beliefs. But real science is not based on what you believe or who you believe. It's based on hard evidence. But first, let's see if these carvings really show advanced ancient technology. There are two saints or siddhars, and each one appears to be holding a thin rectangular device directly in front of his eyes, as though they're watching some content on the phone, very much like how you are watching this video right now. Remember how two friends send memes to each other today? This is exactly what we see here. As crazy as it sounds, if this was a modern day sketch, this is exactly how you would interpret this visual, as two people sending memes to each other over phone while they're both sitting with crossed legs. And look at this guy, he's smiling. It looks as if he's watching something really interesting. But is this really an ancient carving? Or was it just carved recently in the last few decades? Where is it found? I found this carving at the Phanom Rung Temple in Thailand. And even mainstream historians agree that it was built between the 10th and 13th centuries AD. That means it is around 1,000 years old. And this carving is not a recent addition. It was definitely created during ancient times because it is a part of the original temple wall. This is not a separate pillar or a column. It is a pilaster, a projection that's part of the temple wall itself. So there's no way it was created recently in the last few years and attached separately. And look at the color and all these sediments on the stone. This confirms that this is in fact an ancient carving. But how did I find this tiny carving in such a large temple? I discovered this carving by accident just 3 days ago. This is why you see me in this outfit. And I'm surrounded by explorers because we were doing a Thailand temple tour and we found this completely by accident. This is why they shot this vertically, because it was filmed by people who are participating in the tour. We do find strange things while touring ancient temples. We will be finding dinosaurs and other strange carvings when we go to Cambodia in March 2026. If you want to join this Cambodia tour, please scan this barcode or click on the link in the description. But how would historians and archaeologists classify these carvings of cell phones? What about the dinosaur in Cambodian temples? What about the iron pillar of India that never rusts? They call them art or out of place artifacts. Around the world, there are many ancient artifacts that don't fit into the mainstream chronology, but they do exist in real life. The Antiquity mechanism, a mechanical computer from the 2nd century BC, still exists. The iron pillar that never rusts still stands there even after 1,600 years of exposure to rain and shine. Trying to dismiss it by saying that the iron pillar now has 0.01% rust really doesn't dismiss the evidence. It shows how desperate the debunkers are to convince themselves that we did not have advanced technology in the past. But did we really have advanced technology in the past, such as smartphones, to do remote viewing? If so, is this mentioned in ancient texts? Yes, in fact, this scene is clearly mentioned in the ancient text of Mahabharata. When a great war was about to start during ancient times, not everyone could witness the war directly. So, a saint by the name of Vyasa comes up with a solution. The solution is called Divya Dhrishti. What is Divya Dhrishti? It was a live stream device or technique which can be used to view anything remotely, even from thousands of miles away. This is very similar to how we watch a football game live on television, and the name Divya Dhrishti actually means divine vision, like television. And the Saint Vyasa teaches another person by the name of Sanjaya how to use this television. And this is exactly what you see in this ancient carving. Vyasa on one side and Sanjaya on the other, sitting in two different pots. This separating wall shows they are in different places, live streaming visuals and audio to each other, very much like today's Zoom call or a video call. And they used Divya Dhrishti in ancient times, very much like today's live on YouTube or TV. That's how people watched the war of Mahabharata. This is confirmed because the Phanom Rung Temple in Thailand shows so many scenes from Mahabharata. This one shows Krishna killing Kamsa. And here you can see him dancing on the snake Kalia, all mentioned in the same ancient text. So this cell phone carving must also be from Mahabharata. In fact, there was an Indian movie made about this in 1957, about 70 years ago, which shows a laptop-like device used for remote viewing and live video chats. They did not even have tablets, Wi-Fi, and live streaming at the time, but they visualized Divya Dhrishti from ancient texts, which is remarkably similar to what we use today. Now, we have an ancient carving that shows remote viewing technology and the ancient text of Mahabharata, which is at least 2,400 years old, that confirms this technology. Any other explanation to debunk this is just wishful thinking, just being desperate to dismiss it because it does not fit with your belief system or worldview. An uneducated way to think would be to reverse engineer this, to think like there can be no ancient technology, so this must not be ancient technology. It is easier to think like this and think you have debunked this ancient carving And you can just claim that these are just mirrors. But that's just you convincing yourself, so you don't have to change your beliefs. Nobody's going to ask you why two saints would be primping in front of mirrors. The saints have renounced everything. Why would they be smiling at their own faces, sitting in isolated pods? So today, I've shown you the recent findings from our Thailand tour. And I hope to share more strange carvings and temples with you. If you ever visit the Phanom Rung Temple, don't miss this carving. You will find this right outside the main temple tower. I hope you like this video. I am Praveen Mohan. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.